Sweden, officially known as the Kingdom of Sweden, is a country in northern Europe, in Scandinavian peninsula. It borders Norway, Finland, the Baltic Sea and the North Sea. The country covers an area of approximately 450,000 square kilometers and is the fifth largest country in Europe. Sweden has a population of 10 million people. Stockholm is its capital and largest city. Swedish is the official language. Government type is parliamentary constitutional monarchy. Krona is its currency. Around 60% of the people are Christians. National symbols: Eurasian elk, national animal, 3 crowns and the national colors blue and yellow. National Day, 6 June, Independence Day. National anthem, Du gamla, du fria, means in English, thou ancient, thou free. A military power during the 17th century, Sweden has not participated in any war for 2 centuries. An armed neutrality was preserved in both world wars. Since then, Sweden has pursued a successful economic formula consisting of a capitalist system intermixed with substantial welfare elements. Sweden joined the EU in 1995, but the public rejected the introduction of the euro in a 2003 referendum. Sweden is slightly larger than California, USA, or about the size of Germany, Austria, and Slovenia combined. Sweden is Northern Europe's largest country. Sweden is among Europe's most sparsely populated countries with Finland, Iceland, and Norway. About 68% of the country are forests. Stockholm has been the Swedish capital since 1523 and is spread across 14 islands. It is the country's largest and most populated city. Sweden has one of the lowest population densities in the world, of only 25.5 people per square kilometer, with the majority, over 80%, living in urban areas that represent only 1.5% of the land area. Over 65% of the country is covered by forests, an area of approximately 280,000 square kilometers, half of which is owned by private landholders, 25% by private companies, and the rest by the state through a company called
Sveaskog AB,
which is the largest single landholder in the country. Sweden has an unusual right for its people that is called the freedom to roam. It means that people have the right to access all public and private land that is not cultivated or that is a garden attached to a house and can camp where they wish. It also confers the right to pick berries, flowers and mushrooms without a permit. Sweden is clearly a nature lover's paradise, and aside from land that is held privately and by the state, there are over 29 national parks that feature its vast boreal forests, glaciers and mountains. Abisko National Park is the most popular and is easy to reach and offers incredible vistas and wildlife. As well as its forests, Sweden has over 90,000 lakes and 3,000 kilometers of coastline. Swedes are keen to protect their natural environment, and the country is one of the cleanest and most progressive in the world when it comes to recycling and other environmental concerns. Sweden is so good at recycling their waste, with only 1% used as landfill, 50% recycled, and the remainder burned to generate energy, that they actually import waste from other countries, mainly Norway and the UK, which pay for the privilege. Interestingly, a recycling station can be found within at most 300 meters from any residential area. Sweden is famous for many inventions, most notably, perhaps, for dynamite, which was invented by Alfred Nobel in 1867. He was a chemist, engineer, and businessman who held over 355 different patents during his lifetime. After reading an obituary that was intended to be read after his death, which criticized the huge profits he made from selling arms, he decided to bequeath his fortune to the Nobel Prize Institute, which would recognize outstanding achievements in the arts and sciences. Among Sweden's more well-known inventions is the centigrade system for measuring temperature, units of degrees Celsius, which was created by Anders Celsius, a noted Swedish astronomer. Sweden is also notable as the country with the oldest limited company in the world,
Stora Kopparbergs Bergslags AB,
founded in 1288, and that holds the highest number of patents in the world, IKEA store in Älmhult. Swedish home furnishing giant IKEA is the world's largest furniture retailer. With over 420 stores in close to 50 countries, the flat pack chain delivers its concept of Scandinavian design at affordable prices to consumers all over the world. And it all started in the small Swedish town of Almhult, which today has both a store and a museum bearing the name IKEA. Some notable brands that originate from Sweden include Saab, Electrolux, IKEA, Ericsson, Volvo among many others. It is responsible for the Tetra Pak, ball bearings and the heart pacemaker among many others. While the Swedish engineering industry is still a major source of business for the country, pharmaceuticals, electronics and other high-tech industries are becoming more significant, and the Swedish economy remains based on the export of its inventions and the ingenuity of Swedish inventors. Swedish inventors and their inventions. 1. Jonas Ofrell developed a revolver at the same time and independently of Samuel Colt. 2. Martin Wiberg developed a machine the size of a sewing machine that could print logarithmic tables. 3. Alfred Nobel invented dynamite and instituted the Nobel Prizes. 4.
Helge Palmkrantz.
He patented the multi-barrel, lever-actuated, machine gun that later would be known as the Nordenfeldt machine gun. 5. Wilgot Theophil Odhner invented the Odhner arithmometer, a mechanical calculator. One of the many countries which bought Swedish products over the years was North Korea, who agreed to purchase 1,000 Volvo vehicles in 1974. Unfortunately, they never paid for them, and the Swedish government is still trying to collect on a debt that has now grown to 2.7 billion Swedish kroner. The country features a hotel made entirely of ice that is constructed anew each winter when the temperatures are low enough that it doesn't melt away. The ice hotel is located in the town of
Jukkasjärvi
and is constructed from blocks of ice as large as 2 tons that are cut from the local Torn River. Each year the hotel is built to unique design and features the work of local artists. Interestingly, it is required by local ordinances to have a fire alarm system installed. Nicotine gum, which is used as a replacement therapy for smokers wanting to give up the habit, was invented in Sweden. The first product of its type in the world was called Nicorette and was created by a company called
Leo AB.
Although they didn't invent it, they included a polymer that controlled the release of nicotine to better help manage smokers' withdrawal symptoms. Sweden created the first pacemaker that regulates the beating of patients' hearts. This was done in 1958 by Senning and Elmqvist. One of the more surprising aspects of Swedish inventiveness is their ability to create popular music that resonates around the world. Starting with mega group ABBA in the 1970s, the country has since become the third largest exporter of music in the world, second only to the United States and Britain. To celebrate the success of its most famous musical export, Stockholm has an ABBA museum, where visitors can try on the costumes members wore virtually as well as sing and play along with their music on a stage created for the purpose. Sweden has produced many successful music producers since then, and they remain some of the most influential people in popular music today, producing hits for artists including the Cardigans,
NSYNC,
Justin Bieber, Zara Larsson, the Backstreet Boys and Britney Spears, among many others. Felix Kjellberg, better known as PewDiePie, is a Swedish YouTuber and was the first to hit 100 million subscribers on YouTube. Sweden has among the highest value-added tax, VAT, rates in the world at 25%. This, however, is offset by its many social programs which include free healthcare and generous unemployment benefits. The Swedish people are known for their kindness and generosity, and there is evidence to prove it. Sweden is the only country in the world where private donations represent more than 1% of the country's GDP. Swedes are also known as a peaceful people. After the last war in which they were involved in 1814, Sweden has been at peace for over 200 years and maintains an official policy of neutrality in foreign affairs that is even older than Switzerland's. Sweden is a global pioneer in the field of astronomy and is home to the biggest scale model of the solar system. The sun is represented by the Ericsson Dome, the world's largest hemispherical building, in Stockholm, and the model's outer limits are 950 kilometers away in the town of Kiruna, which represents the edge of the solar system. The scale of this model is 120 million, and each object in the solar system is marked with a model or statue. Mercury is only 3 kilometers from the Ericsson Dome, Earth is 7.6 kilometers, whilst Pluto is over 300 kilometers distant from it. The Swedish people, as well as people from Norway and Denmark, are descendants of the ferocious Vikings that set out in their tall ships and invaded most of northern and eastern Europe between the 8th and 11th centuries. Although the Viking influence fell in the ensuing centuries, Sweden became one of the great powers of Europe once again in the 17th century, gaining territories in Eastern Europe. Sweden is the sixth oldest country in Europe and its eighth oldest monarchy, as well as being one of the oldest sovereign states in the world. It has been in existence as a sovereign state for over 1,000 years after being founded by Eric the Victorious in 970 AD. Since 1973, King Carl XVI Gustaf is the reigning monarch of Sweden. The royal house includes Queen Sylvia and the three children, as well as their children, and the older sister of the king, Princess Birgitta. The castle of Drottningholm, near Stockholm, is the residence of the king and his family. Among its many progressive political achievements, Sweden is famous for being the first country in the world to outlaw physical punishment of children. In 1966, the right of parents to hit their children was removed, and they passed a law that explicitly banned it in 1979. Parental leave is a central part of Swedish family life. Parental leave is paid for 480 days, shared between parents. 90 days are reserved for each parent, while the remaining days can be shared at will. This is mainly to encourage equality and shared responsibility. In Sweden, fathers' groups are quite common. It's a place where new dads can meet other dads and talk about their new roles. Sweden also offers some of the most generous paternity leave in the world, with fathers also given the opportunity to spend time with their child. In all, Sweden offers up to 480 days of paternity leave at 80% of wages. There are also bonus days if parents have twins. Today, Sweden has one of the highest living standards in the world, mainly due to maintaining low unemployment, a strong welfare system, and one of the highest life expectancies in the world. Student life. Several Swedish universities place high in European rankings, and their research has contributed to the global success of Sweden's many high-tech companies. The education system is student-centric, and relations between students and teachers are highly informal. Personal initiative and independent thinking are prized. Sweden also leads in studies that measure gender equality in education, employment, and political representation. In 2006, the EU ranked the country first in its report on gender equality. Another Swedish culinary tradition that is celebrated in the summer of August is the Kräftskiva festival, which involves eating boiled crayfish served with boiled potatoes and dill washed down with plenty of schnapps. Although Swedish people pride themselves on leading a healthy, outdoor lifestyle that includes eating well, the country holds the record for one of the highest number of McDonald's restaurants per capita in the world. The Swedish people often use public transport, including an underground metro system in the capital, Stockholm. While other cities also have metro systems, Stockholm's features art created by over 150 artists, including paintings, mosaics, installations, and sculptures, and has been called the world's largest art exhibit, with works featured at stations along its 110-kilometer length. Becoming a Swedish citizen confers the right to carry a Swedish passport, which gives a bearer entry to more than 124 countries in the world without the need to apply for a visa, and is ranked as the sixth best passport to have in the world. Sweden was the first country to have a phone number associated with it. The idea was that people could call the number and talk to a Swedish person and get an idea about what Swedish life was like. The service has been discontinued. Swedish people are known for their honesty and directness, and visitors are advised to take note. They are a non-judgmental people, but they don't like beating about the bush. Swedes also prioritize and respect each other's privacy. A traditional Swedish fika consisting of a hot cup of coffee and freshly baked cinnamon buns. The concept of fika is a natural part of Swedish everyday life. It means that you take a break for a coffee and a bite to eat, either with your co-workers, family, friends, or by yourself. A core part of Swedish culture is the fika. Essentially, this is simply going out and having a coffee. In Sweden, however, this ritual also includes having an open and meaningful conversation at the same time, which can involve dealing with profound issues. Sweden is a highly secular country. Historically, the Swedish state church was of the evangelical Lutheran variety, But this was separated from the state as an official religion, and today people are free to choose their religion or to not have one at all. Sweden is far enough north that during its winter months it experiences the phenomenon of the midnight sun, where the sun doesn't ever completely set and there are 24 hours of daylight. Of course, in winter the days are darker for longer as one goes north. Another Swedish cultural export is the sauna. This involves sitting in a wooden room at high temperature, up to 90 degrees Celsius, where there is a lot of steam. This allows the body to release its toxins and is followed by cooling down in a pool or, more traditionally, throwing oneself into the snow outside.
Julmust
is the festive drink that famously outsells Coca-Cola every year in Sweden. It is estimated that Swedes consume approximately 50 million liters of
julmust,
a sweet, slightly spicy, non-alcoholic, carbonated beverage every year around Christmas time. Ice hockey and football, soccer, are Sweden's main sports. Other popular sports include handball, golf, gymnastics, athletics and cross-country skiing. Swedish svenska, also known as the Swedish language, is the official language of Sweden and is also one of the two official languages in Finland. Swedish svenska was also spoken in parts of Latvia and Estonia before World War II. Still, in spite of having such a unique language as its official language, most Swedes speak English at a very high level. Visitors to Sweden can even get away with not learning one word of Swedish and still have a great time and make their way around with no problems. Swedes rank among the most avid coffee drinkers in the world. This is due in large part to the fact that a significant part of Swedish culture is their daily fika traditions. Tube food to Swedish people is what canned and bottled foods are to Americans and many other parts of the Western world. Instead of the mayonnaise or mustard in a bottle or jar that you may be used to, you are likely to see this item packaged using a squeeze tube in Sweden. Even caviar is squeezed through tubes onto some of your other favorite foods. Holidays are serious business in Sweden. The Swedes are known for enjoying an average of 4 to 6 weeks of holidays, typically during the month of July. Even restaurants and stores will shut down for an entire month, while their owners go on weeks of vacation. The longest river in Sweden is called
Klarälven.
This river is also the longest river in Scandinavia. Sweden has mountains in the western parts, but otherwise flat with rolling hills, and is one of the countries with the most lakes. The largest lake is Lake
Vänern.
The largest island of Sweden is called Gotland. Sweden attractions and landmarks, Stockholm's Royal Palace, Stockholm. The capital city is located on 14 islands which are connected with 57 bridges. The Vasa Museum displays the original warship that sank off the Stockholm coast in 1628. Famous sites in Stockholm also include the Nobel Museum, the ABBA Museum and of course, the medieval town centre Gamla Stan with its cobblestone streets, the Stockholm Cathedral and the Royal Palace. Visby, the town and surrounding region on Gotland, provided the scenery for many Pippi Longstocking scenes. Visby is listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and referred to as the best medieval fortified trading town in Northern Europe.
Fårö.
The island off Gotland is located in the Baltic Sea and dominated by a barren landscape and limestone monoliths or sea stacks, called rocker in Swedish. The famous sea stacks are often given names by visitors. The largest island of Sweden is
Fårö.
Gothenburg was once the most important fishing port. The city is also known for the Volvo car factory and its blue city trams and city buses. The Poseidon Fountain is a symbol of the maritime heritage of the city. The northern lights can be experienced in Swedish Lapland. In and around Kiruna is a good place to watch the dancing green, pink and purple stripes of light in the night sky between 9 p.m. and 2 a.m. The indigenous people of Sweden, the Sami people, believed the lights come from the souls of the dead. The biggest cities of Sweden are Stockholm, Gothenburg, Malmö, and Uppsala. The Sami people are Sweden's indigenous people. Some of the Sami also live in Finland, Norway, and Russia and count in total about 75,000 people. The Sami people are the only recognized indigenous people within the area of the European Union. Traditional yurt in Lapland. Midsummer celebrations are the biggest celebrations of the year, after Christmas. The Swedes celebrate the longest day of the year with dances around the maypole, parades and get-togethers. The natural resources of Sweden include timber, iron ore, copper, and zinc. 75% of the country's electricity is produced by hydro energy and other renewable energy sources. Manufactured goods such as cars, electronics, clothing as well as refined petroleum are the main export products. The main trading partners of Sweden are Germany, Norway, Denmark, the USA and the UK. Among the biggest Swedish companies are car manufacturer Volvo, clothing brand H&M, Hennes and Mauritz, music streaming platform Spotify and IKEA, which is among the largest furniture manufacturers in the world. IKEA was founded in Sweden, but now its headquarters is based in the Netherlands. Sweden animals. The national animal of Sweden is the Eurasian elk or moose. About 300,000 to 400,000 of these huge hoofed mammals roam freely in Sweden. The Swedish name for moose is
älg.
In central Sweden there is a population of the Scandinavian wolves. These are very shy animals, and they live in dense forested areas. European brown bears, lynxes and Arctic foxes also live in the wild in Sweden. Typical Swedish food includes
Köttbullar.
meatballs traditionally served with gravy, potatoes, lingonberries, and pickled cucumber. Swedes are well known for their love of meatballs, and the dish is highly popular in the country, so much so that the IKEA furniture store serves them in its stores around the world.
Falukorv.
Sausage served with macaroni pasta and cream sauce.
Kalops.
Meat stew cooked with allspice and bay leaves and served with potatoes and beetroots.
Raggmunk.
Potato pancakes are often eaten with salted pork bacon and lingonberries.
Kanelbullar.
The typical Swedish cinnamon buns are made with wheat flour and filled with cinnamon, sugar and butter. Swedish cinnamon buns are served with milk.